Welcome to Camera Shake Podcast, episode 122, and we're back in the woods.
Yep, last time we met in the woods with the van was in Wales.
That's right.
And Nick was here. Nick's not here today.
Nick's not here today.
But very importantly, how many times has Tommy been on the podcast?
You know, I was thinking about this the other day, that I couldn't work it out. I think 3 times.
Well, I've been on Van in the Woods, round Nick's place.
No.
We did another one. We did a Zoom one.
Yeah, and of course the photography show.
And the photography show. Come on, Tommy. Catch up, mate. Catch up.
So we're here is this Hertfordshire or Buckinghamshire? So just on the border, right?
Right on the border. Tring is there. Hemel Hempstead is there. I think maybe Buckinghamshire.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
We're in the British countryside.
In the countryside. Just enjoying the last few sunny days, I guess.
It was really cold this morning.
Yeah. I went out on the Vespa this morning.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. Which may
have your big coat on.
Yeah, I'm kind of sort of, bikered up in leather.
Anyway, right.
But
did you say leather?
No.
On the Vespa?
Oh, yeah.
What's wrong with you?
Hey, that's what we were taught.
Vespa riders don't wear leather.
Well, now
maybe a leather waistcoat. Is it a waistcoat? It's not. Is it? Well, that thing.
Yeah. But I'm not a fan of the cold, so
Right.
So yeah.
Weird for a German Canadian.
That's very true. But I grew up in the south of Germany. What can I say?
Okay.
Where it's nice and warm.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you're just passing through on the way back from the photography show. So we take this opportunity and hook up and enjoy some sunshine.
So by the time the episode goes out, I'll be down in Dorset, and after that, I want to go north in the UK if I can, because the Northern Lights. We're approaching solar maximum. I've written a book about the Northern Lights, right? We can plug it and stuff, so everyone can go and buy it if you're interested in the Northern Lights.
Well, I mean, in fact, your latest book was one of the reasons why I thought it'd be a good idea to get together and talk about the Eiffel Tower Effect. But we'll do that in a second.
We'll get to that.
Yeah,
cool. So the Northern Lights, the Complete Aurora Guide for travelers and photographers. Look it up on Amazon. The sun runs in a roughly 11-year cycle, and at the moment we're almost at the top. So we're almost at solar maximum, which is going to happen next year. But because we're on the way up and the activity is really, really strong, we've had loads of geomagnetic solar storms. There's also some interesting stuff happening with the Earth's magnetic field, because I don't know if you've seen the Earth's magnetic field moves, and it's moving a lot right now, like really a lot. But when we were at school, it would have been, in the textbooks, it would have been north of Hudson Bay. We're way beyond that right now. So because of all these interesting things that are happening with the sun and with the Earth's magnetic field, the Northern Lights are crazy. So after Dorset and before LA, Adobe Mics, which is in a month from now, I want to try and get to the top of Scotland if I can. I keep an eye on the weather and the Northern Lights and see what I get.
Cool. Now, I watched the core where the Earth's magnetic field gets turned off.
Right.
And it has to be restarted.
Yeah.
By sending a spaceship drill thing into the core.
Spaceship drill thing. Yeah. Doesn't happen, isn't ever going to happen.
Right.
So the all the stuff comes from, to drive the Northern Lights, all the stuff comes from the sun. The stuff is plasma. It's made of helium. It's helium plasma. Plasma is a state of matter in between gas and liquid. It's neither one nor the other. It's a fourth state of matter, the other one being solid, of course. That comes, and it comes from massive ejections or explosions from the sun. Some of it's pointed at us and gets drawn into our magnetic field. And the reason we have a magnetic field is because we have an iron core in the middle of our planet, and the mere presence of that iron core is the gravity, is the magnetism. So that is rubbish. It's never going to happen. We never need to reset it, but it does move.
It's a good movie, for God's sake. Anyway, Northern Lights.
Yeah.
So typically, I think when most people think of the Northern Lights, you think of northern Scandinavia, the Arctic Circle, and so forth. Iceland, that sort of thing. But you can actually see Northern Lights from the British shores.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. Top of Scotland is a great place for it when it's strong enough. But they have, historically, they've been seen in the south of France. the folklore around the Scottish Aurora is quite interesting, because when it comes that far south, obviously you're looking towards the northern horizon to see it. So you're seeing it on above the horizon rather than overhead typically, because it's to get overhead it's got to be very, 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 very strong, like above a G2 rated storm. So when they're looking north, they're seeing the upper edges of it, which would be oxygen in our atmosphere being hit by the helium plasma. And when they collide and they react, the energy they expel is light. So the oxygen in the lower atmosphere is green light, but when it's in the upper atmosphere, it's red light. And so when, back in the day, when they were looking to the northern skies from the UK or from Scotland, and seeing the red, they thought it was a great big battle in the sky, and the red was the blood being shed from the warriors from the fighting. So there's lots of interesting folklore around it. One of the Canadian ones is really interesting. I can't remember. There's a native tribe in Canada who thought it was someone playing football with a walrus skull, running around the sky with a walrus skull.
Excellent.
Interestingly, you should never point at it. If you listen to the who's it that says you never point at it? I think it's the North Norwegians say you don't point at it. The Finnish. The reindeer herders, they say you shouldn't whistle at it. And some Icelanders believe that a pregnant woman shouldn't look at it, or the baby will be born cross-eyed.
Oh, wow.
There's some weird stuff.
Okay.
We know what it is now, but yeah, the colours are interesting and they're based on the heights and the science, but the stories that go with it without the scientific understanding are very interesting. It's all in the book.
Yeah, I was going to say, one might think you'd written a book about it.
Yeah, crazy.
So is that like your next move, is to go and...
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be in Norway in February for a situation where I'll be with a friend. And so, based on Schengen visas and stuff, I don't know when I should go, if I take the van or if I fly. I'm still trying to figure all that out. The van's up for it, maybe one more. But then after that, it's 250,000 miles.
Yeah.
It's practically dead. It's still hanging in there.
Yeah.
Doing all right. But yeah, I don't know. I'll be up there in February anyway, for sure.
Yeah, you went through some rough times on your last trip.
Yeah. So since we last saw each other, apart from the photography show. Because there was the episode literally when I got back. But anyway, I got rescued in Finland when it got stuck. It got stuck in Iceland and I had to self-rescue, which fortunately worked, because that would have been expensive. Got blown off the road. I got stuck in northern Norway in the Lofoten Islands for about a week because of 2 polar storms that came running through the roads. But literally the snowplow went through and then it was that deep again straight away. And then it's done thousands upon thousands of miles around Scandinavia, Iceland, Faroe Islands, down through Germany to the south to Croatia, Bosnia, Serbia, Romania, Bulgaria, through Hungary. It's been to so many places.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to say, so last time we were in the woods together doing a podcast. I know I jokingly made some references to Sasquatch, but there's branches moving over here, and they're big branches. I just want you to watch your back.
Right in. Okay. I've got my torch with me this time.
The torch, yeah. Just shine it to death.
Yeah, purely for personal protection, clearly.
Yeah.
But I mean, for those listeners and viewers who haven't seen the original Kofifernweh episode, which the link to which I'll be putting up there somewhere, you've literally fitted this whole van out yourself.
Yeah. So I bought this as a white Sprinter van that was used by a company that contracted to Network Rail that maintains the railways in the UK. They had bench seats in the back, and then the very back end was just a van, storage or whatever. And it's now got a double bed, kitchen, kind of got a bathroom, it's got running water, and it's got a toilet. Swivel seat in the front, it's got a desk, it's got a couch, all the storage I need, and then in the storage under the bed at the back, I've got my skis, my ice skates, several different types of hiking shoes. I've got snow shoes as well. By that I mean tennis rackets rather than warm boots. I've got both. It's ready for adventure. at a moment's notice.
Yeah.
As long as they can get there.
So the thing that I was wondering really was, because we originally did a little sort of walkthrough little video about the van, and I kind of thought, I wonder, because when you anticipate an expedition like that,
I know what you're going to say. I'm going to preempt it. I would change a lot of things.
Would you? Okay, cool. Well, that's exactly what I was going to ask.
A lot.
So in hindsight,
I wish I'd put in a proper desk.
Right. Okay.
So I've got a couch that was in the tour video with a table that mounts and swivels, and then I've got a swivel seat in the front. But I wish there was a proper desk sort of set up. I don't know where I would put it though, because of this window. So the couch is under this window.
Yeah.
So a desk would be, if it was against a wall, it would be against the window, because the other side is the kitchen. But yeah, a desk would be cool. Maybe I'll have to build another one. Maybe that's the answer.
Well, that might well be the answer. Well, if you took everything that you've learned from, spending the best part of a year in this van, apart from, putting a desk in, what else would you change?
Maybe I'd put the bed a bit lower. I'd put the bed high so that I have more storage underneath it, but it's just a tiny bit too high. So if it dropped another 20 centimeters, I think that would be the perfect height. So that would be 80 centimeters off the ground at that perfect position. At the moment, it's 1 meter up. The insulation is perfect. So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. There's 50 millimeters of insulation on every surface, all the way around. So, when I turned, like in Finland, in Lapland, at the top there, I was down to minus 37 degrees, and I was fine. I had the heater running to keep it warm, and once you've heated it up and turned the heater off, the heat stays inside. I did get my hand stuck to a tripod on the same night that it was minus 37 when I was doing a time lapse of the Northern Lights, and I went outside, and I thought, I'm only going to be quick, I don't need to put my gloves on. Should have put my gloves on, because my hand got stuck to the tripod. The camera was glitching and everything.
You didn't lick it, did you?
I didn't lick it. No. But yeah, no, the insulation's fine. So all of that, the tires and the wheels that I've put on are great for going off road and on tracks and on the ice, on the snow. Everything was fine. There was only 2 occasions where I had to put the chains on the tires. One was in Iceland when it was there was a huge storm, and I was driving through the mountains in the dark, and basically when you've got a crosswind in the mountains, it suddenly is there and suddenly it's not, and so you can get blown off the road quite easily. So I had the chains on there, and I also had the chains on for a bit in Lapland, where I was in a national park, Pallastunturin National Park, which is where it was minus 37. It was after it was minus 37 that I had the chains on there, probably because of the slopes and the weight. 3.5 tons worth of van on icy, snowy, steep inclines is not ideal, so I just had the chains on for just a bit of security, peace of mind. It makes you drive slower as well. When you've got the chains on, they're clunking, going tuk, 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 all the way around, and so it slows you down and makes you drive better in those conditions.
Yeah, because there's sort of 2 sides to it. On one hand is, of course, it's like your own personal survival, because you're literally living in the van at those extreme temperatures.
Yeah.
But then on the other side, you're there for a reason, because you're shooting images, producing videos and all the rest of it. So the other thing is keeping you gear, a situation where you can actually...
So the gear's got to be accessible by me, but not accessible by anyone who wants to try and steal it.
Yeah.
As all the charging and everything has to be taken care of. And that's all there. So all the power that I have, the solar panel's 380 watts, but I've also got a DC to DC charger. So when the van's on, it's charging my house batteries in the back, which is 300 amp hours of lithium ion, or LiFePO 4, lithium ion polymer 4. Good battery. The same as the Tesla. Basically a Tesla.
Right. This is basically the Tesla van. There you go. You've heard it first.
Yeah, exactly. Loads of power and loads of charging options. So there's USBs and power sockets all over the place in there. And that wasn't a problem at all. But that was only not a problem because I tested it before I left properly with a trip to Scotland, where I figured that I had the wrong kind of batteries. I had, what's it called? Gel acid. I had gel acid batteries where you can only use half the power. Otherwise, the battery just dies. So changed it to the right ones, and I've not had an issue. As a photographer working and living in a van, it's really cool. It's really good fun. You get to see loads of things. You get to wake up in awesome places, especially when you arrive in the dark and you don't know what it looks like. You wake up the next morning and see an epic view. It's really cool. It's a really good adventure.
Yeah.
It's nearly time to get a house, go back to normal.
Nearly time to get out.
But it's really good fun.
Yeah.
When I do get rid of it, I'm gonna either have a small van or a 4x4 that I can use to do similar things and have adventures.
Yeah.
But we'll get there. That'll be another episode.
Yeah.
When it happens.
Fantastic. And of course, you went when you came back from Scandinavia from that trip, you then went into Europe.
Yeah. Are we getting to when the van got broken in bit? Are we getting to there?
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
I'm trying to figure out. Okay, so I went down through. So I parked in Copenhagen in Denmark, flew to Iceland to do some stuff with Russell Round from Adobe with the Fire and Ice project, where we had a fire breather in the ice cave. That was awesome. Flew back and then drove down Denmark, Germany, Austria, Slovenia, Croatia. So that was the exiting the Schengen area was Slovenia into Croatia. And my plan was to be there for another 90 days. But things got a bit hairy. Putin started being silly. And I, having gone from like this awesome winter wonderland into somewhere where I had like Caribbean looking seas and sun shining on me, I was out of place and out of sync, and it isn't my forte. I can do it, but it's not really my thing. I decided to try and make the most of it, and was initially going to go towards Turkey, but I ended up, because of the Russia-Ukraine situation, changing my plans and constantly changing my mind as well. Should I go? Should I turn back? What should I do? And I went through into Bosnia-Herzegovina, into Serbia, and in Serbia I just felt weird going, oh okay, I thought it was a bird. I just felt weird. I felt something wasn't quite right, and it's not how do I put this politely, it's not as up to date as the UK, and the roads are out of shape, and there's a lot of crime. And I was woken up one night at about 3 a.m, I think it was, to two guys trying to break into the back door. The back door now is screwed. I couldn't get it fixed. I couldn't even get it open because they'd broken everything. Needless to say, I chased them away, and we won't go into a great amount of detail on that and how that happened. But yeah, I couldn't get the doors fixed. I couldn't get into the back doors to get stuff that was in there. So that's one factor, is I couldn't get to certain things. And then the other factor to do with coming back is the Ukraine situation. I was driving up, and the route took me into Romania, where I was going to go to Dracula's castle. I was going to go to a few other places in the Carpathian Mountains. And everything was kind of against me, especially thinking I'm a stone's throw from Ukraine, and if the wind's blowing in the wrong direction and Putin does something stupid, that's game over. So I decided to come back. Adding all these things together, I decided to come back. So I came back to the UK and serviced the van again, and went up to Scotland and Wales and had a little adventure there instead. So things don't always go to plan, but that's not the end of the world, because we adapt and we overcome, don't we?
Yeah, for sure.
Especially in our industry as self-employed creatives, we have to adapt and overcome. Otherwise, in the same sense, it's game over then as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's roughly what happened.
Yeah. And then after that, you went back to France, I think, on a little court trip.
So Kofifernweh rode to, it's London to Paris, but he actually rode Essex to Paris with his neighbour Jim, and I was the support vehicle, and it was good fun. So they rode from Pete's place in Essex to East London, where they were going to go on the velodrome track. Didn't make it in time because of a chain snap, but then fixed the chain, carried on through London to Trafalgar Square to the start point. So they'd already done 40 miles or something by the time they got to the start point, and then rode to Paris within 24 hours. And so we were just bunny hopping, and I was feeding them baguettes and macaroons and eclairs and croissants and stuff along the way just to keep them fueled up. And
did you open up the window,
their water,
like little countertop, selling croissants?
Ice creams or hot dogs or something.
Kind of chocolate. It's a great way to make some extra money on the side.
Yeah, or just pitch up in places like this.
Yeah, exactly.
Open the side door. roll up.
So now that you're back in the UK, for the time being anyway, you're still technically living in the van. Yeah. Okay, so how? I think what a lot of people might be interested in is how do you find places to stay for the night, for example? Like how easy is that?
There are apps. The apps are. They give you an idea. So this place, I don't think is on the app, but there's another parking place just down the road that is. Ideally, so if we're going into van life, ideally you want to find your handful of places, especially if you're working in a particular area, you want to find your handful of places that you know and that are safe, that you can trust to sleep in, that are not on these apps, so you don't get other people turning up. Because the problem is, I'll turn up and stay somewhere for a day or two and keep myself to myself. I might get a chair out if it's nice out and work on my laptop. But other than that, I'll be in the van, working on the table or the desk. I'll be cooking inside. But people don't see that. People think that people that live in vans are making a mess and causing chaos. Well, in fact, we're not. If you look around, there is some trash here. But it doesn't come from people living in vans. It comes from sometimes dog walkers. It comes from kids turning up in the middle of the night to smoke some weed and listen to loud music, throwing things out of the car window. But people living in vans seem to get the blame. And I can understand it, but it's wrong. It's not true. So finding your own handful of places that you're safe in is a good idea. So when you're over in continental Europe, however, there's an app called Park for Night, number 4, Park for Night. It's loads of places that motorhomers and vanners have been, and they add it to a map and say why it's good, or if some campsites are on it as well. There's loads of places. In America, there's an app called iOverlander, which is very similar. So yeah, finding your own place, making sure you're safe and secure, and making sure, just like when you go hiking, just making sure you leave no trace. They say take photographs, take memories, leave only footprints.
No. That's good to do it. Are the laws different in continental Europe?
Yeah, there's a lot of places where you can't wild camp. And the definition of wild camp varies, obviously, from place to place. Wild camp is go into wilderness with a tent. Vans aren't a tent. In the UK, we barely have any wilderness. So you're on someone's land.
Right.
So you need permission from them, or the fact that they don't care. And then the Netherlands, for example, there's so many people with so little land that it's just illegal.
Right.
You have to go into a campsite or whatever else. Right. So, you have to know the laws of the country you're going to and abide by them.
Of course, the Netherlands are a great country to camp, actually.
The Netherlands is, in terms of caravans and motorhomes, people of the Netherlands are probably like the biggest fans of it. If you're anywhere in Europe, you're always going to see Dutch number plates on cars and caravans and campers. They're big fans. So it's weird that it's illegal there, but yeah, they don't have much space. I found a few spots when I was there. But, we'll leave that. If you go to my website, idavewilliams.com/track, you can see everywhere I've been. So you'll be able to do the math and figure out where I've stayed overnight on the map.
So only a few days ago, we've met at the photography show. Reunited.
Let's go reunited. Photography show, yeah, absolutely.
So yeah.
Where was Nick? I'm going to keep saying where's Nick. Where was Nick? Anyway.
Not here. Anyway, so that's a great show, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So last year, being the first year after the pandemic, was interesting. Really wide corridors. You couldn't really tell if it was busy or not because everything was so spread out. But this year, using that same bigger space that they used last year, everything's kind of back to normal. Spaces are tighter. There are more exhibitors. I didn't notice really many absent exhibitors. The ones I do know were absent. I know why they were absent. And all the big players were there: Nikon, Canon, Sony, Fuji, everyone, DJI, all the big ones were there.
I think
so. We're getting back to normal.
Yeah, the only big brand, I guess, that I noticed wasn't there in terms of camera brands was Panasonic.
Yeah. Were they not there?
No.
I think they had a little something on someone's Wex or someone.
No, okay.
Maybe.
That's possible. But
yeah, no, they
would have expected it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
Shiv was there. Panasonic luminary, an ambassador for Panasonic.
Right.
Shiv Verma was there on the Platypod stand with Larry.
Exactly.
And I just want to congratulate Larry on his invention, the Platyball, which won Best in Show.
Best in Show, exactly.
And there it is.
Fantastic.
Should we dive into the table?
Yes, absolutely.
We need to play with some of these things from the photography show.
So we've got some stuff at the photography show. It's always a great opportunity to get good deals.
Platypod Extreme. This is just finished shipping Kickstarters. It's shipping now from normal orders from the website, and the Platyball, which has been shipping for quite some time now, with incredible success. I don't think you've actually had your hands on an Extreme, have you?
I haven't.
There's one. Well, how does it feel?
It's really good. Obviously, I had a look at the Extreme at the photography show, but and Larry demonstrated all the new, the new functionalities.
Yeah.
So
the Extreme is a little bit smaller than the Max, and there are more ways to use it. Let's put it that way. There are more ways to use it. There are more holes to screw things, attach things, tighten things. You can use the goosenecks, which hold onto clamps, elbow joints, and various other things. You can just pull and twist the spikes, which are built in, to lock them into place like that. And they've got two angles facing down for the spikes. Or you turn them upside down, so you've got the rubber cap, which faces straight down. But they're attached, so you can't lose them.
You can also
the amount of spikes I've lost is crazy. But yeah, you can't lose them this time. It's all built in. It's one package. It's flush. Do you know there are 6 patterns in the pairing you've got in your hand? There are 6 patterns.
Really?
Yeah. I know what 2 of them are. I don't know what the rest are.
Well, it's an amazing thing because it seems the basic idea seems so simple. You just basically create a plate that you could put your ball head on, and put your camera on, and you could place your camera on the floor, especially as in this case, low to the floor, which is an interesting idea in the first place. But you can also strap this on any pole, tree, fence, whatever. So you can get elevated position.
Strap it on using these, or you can use the spikes as hooks and hook it on. I've put the spikes that way recently in Switzerland with the Platyball on its side like that, the camera mounted, so it's sitting on a fence post, reinforced with the strap on a horizontal fence post. Strap, camera, and then there's a train over there going through the mountains that I've got a lot of exposure of. The combinations are crazy, but essentially, if you need lightweight stability when you're shooting, that's a setup for you.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, this fits in like any small bag, and there's no need to carry a whole tripod around with you, which is incredible.
And it evades the tripod police.
And that.
These crazy people in their yellow jackets, no tripods. Well, they look at it, they think you can see the cogs turning.
Yeah.
They realise there's something wrong with it, but it's not a tripod, and so it's not breaking the rules. Yeah. And by the time all these processes have happened, you've got your shot and you're out.
The other thing that's really genius in my view is the way that you tighten and loosen the actual ball out. Because normally you have like things that you turn or twist or whatever, or tighten. But here, you've got 2 buttons. Yeah. One to tighten the whole thing up. Yeah. You literally just pump the button, and it just rocks. It literally is rock solid. Yeah. And then you have another button to loosen it, and it's super easy.
Yeah. Ergonomic.
It's ergonomic, yeah. It sits in the hand so well. So
when I'm in the cold and I've got my thick gloves on, I can pump the buttons and twist the cog.
Yeah.
Without worrying about what does what. Firstly, where I've got sometimes 3 things sticking out from a ball head. I know what does what, and I can operate it with gloves on.
So I thought about this the other day, especially when I came home from the photography show. I kind of thought, well, this is amazing when you're, a travel photographer, when you're a landscape photographer, that sort of thing, or cityscapes. I mean, just imagine being able to go into a city, to London or something, without a tripod.
Right in the city.
It's fantastic. And then I thought, but how useful is this for me as a portrait photographer? And then I realized that when I shoot the 3 heads in a row project, I'm literally sitting against a board which doubles as a table, right? And the way I shoot that is I have my elbows on the board, and I'm holding the camera. And that's exactly what I know. That's a perfect situation to have, a Platypod.
And if you weren't doing that, where you're moving ever so slightly each time, every shot's going to be exactly the same.
Exactly. So and I thought, okay, well, this is a typical situation where it's come in extremely handy. So any tabletop shots, anything like that, this thing can be.
The other thing is as well with the ball head is it doesn't need to go on a platypod. It can go on your tripod.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a standard 3/8, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
3/8 screw at the bottom, so it will go on top of any tripod.
Like just as a ball head, this is extremely useful.
This is what Platypod does. It captivates people.
Yeah.
They just what can I do with it? What can I do?
Because that's the thing, even when you're shooting on a regular standard tripod, let's say you're shooting portraits or headshots. I don't shoot freehand. I shoot with a tripod. I like it because I can step away from it. I can talk to the.
Can tether it something.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm forever, adjusting it. And so at the moment, the tripod or the head that I'm using, it has basically two levers.
Mm-hmm. You have to remember which one's which and what they do.
Yeah. And although I've had this tripod for about 10 years, I still can't remember it. So
can't get wrong there.
Yeah, you really can't. It's
tighten and loosen, and then
it's so ergonomic.
Cog. So if you hold it in it's designed to be held in the left hand because you're shooting with your right hand.
Sure.
So your thumb will then fall on the cog.
And it's so easy, and it's so rock solid as well.
So Larry won Best in Show for that, and it's clear why.
Not surprising at all. Yeah.
So, Xencelabs. Let's look at Xencelabs.
Yeah.
Xencelabs. Ian Sayers from Xencelabs was talking a lot. He was on the live editing stage a few times. I think he was on the photo live stage as well. But he was talking at least twice a day. And it's clear why, because he's a great educator and he backs a great product, which is the Xencelabs tablets. This is the medium. There we go.
Oh, very nice.
The medium tablet with quick keys.
Oh, that's
and then there's the case with the pen and the pencil. There we go. Now, this is going to sound weird, because I've reviewed this now, and it was hard to describe this. Just draw. It's going to sound weird, but just draw. Doesn't it feel good?
It feels very nice, yeah.
I can't explain why, but it does.
The surface is slightly different from a wax.
Yeah, it's not too smooth, but there's a little bit of resistance. It's really thin. The pen nib and the material of the tablet just work together. It just feels right. And another thing is there are no gaps anywhere. So I don't know about you, but when I was using tablets before Xencelabs existed, I'd quite often have a snack while I was editing and find some crumb. But there's nowhere for the crumbs to fall, which is really handy. But then at the front here, there's a curve where it takes it down to 5 millimeters, which is perfect for your wrist. So there's no bump, there's no corner, there's nothing to make you uncomfortable.
That's actually one of my main criticisms about the Wacom tablets that I use, day in, day out. Is I have, so my desk is like basically a slab of old wood,
right?
And it has what's called a wild edge on the front. So there's a natural slope. And so what I tend to do is, especially when I have like longer editing sessions, I pull the whole thing forward so that my wrist sits on that natural slope.
Yeah.
And that's the way I get around that. But
But you've had to find a way around it.
But I had to find a way around it.
This has already got the way around it built in. And the quick keys as well.
So that's interesting.
You've got 8 programmable buttons. You've got a dial, which is a button. And you can customize these to each individual program.
Right.
So when you open Photoshop, it opens your preset for Photoshop. When you open Illustrator, it opens your preset for Illustrator, but then you can toggle through your presets as well.
Okay.
And the whole thing lasts something like 17 hours.
Right.
With a Bluetooth connection. So it charges through USB-C, Bluetooth 5 as well.
Mm.
So Wacom uses Bluetooth 4.1 and Xencelabs uses Bluetooth 5. And the difference is largely in the security and the reliability of the connection.
Right.
So you can have a bunch of these in a room, like 30, 40, 50 in a room, without interfering with each other with a secure connection back to the dongle.
Cool.
And the dongle, where I say the dongle, it's in here. Oh no, it's not. It's plugged in. It's in my laptop bag. Tiny little USB or USB-C dongle that plugs in, connects it so that you've got that stable, secure connection. And so without wanting to upset you as a Wacom user, this is going to kill Wacom.
Okay.
Absolutely going to kill Wacom. The price point is great. It's cheaper. It's also cheaper for what it is. The quick keys aren't a thing with Wacom.
Right.
They have a small and a medium, and then the medium SE. But I wouldn't be surprised if there was a screen version coming soon. I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised.
But I think
they've perfected what they've got.
The thing about tablets is, I would say probably that the vast majority of tablet users use a standard tablet, rather than Wacom makes some incredible products, especially like the huge screen.
The Cintiq.
Yeah. But I think for the average user, for the average photographer, who's moved on from editing with the mouse to using a tablet, that's the kind of tablet we're really talking about 99% of the time, I think.
So that's it's about $300. Between $250 and $350. I can't remember the exact price, but it's about $300. Whereas the Wacom, you're looking at between $50 and $100 more for the equivalent, which would be the Intuos Pro. But again, the quick keys are on there, so it's not actually equivalent. It's just the tablet size and rating is equivalent. But the Xencelabs one is better. But here's the thing: Xencelabs was started by people that worked at Wacom, and they couldn't progress with the technology and the designs and the engineering that they wanted to, and so they went and made Xencelabs and unleashed all that creativity and brought out this epic product.
So that very much reminds me of what happened with Marshall.
They have the sounds,
for all the guitarists listening to this, and another company called Blackstar, which was exactly the same thing. Same situation. I think Blackstar was, as far as I remember, was started by former Marshall employees who were not happy with the way things were going, had some other ideas, and turned that into a very successful amplifier brand.
So and the other thing for me is I've tried loads of Wacom stuff. I had the Cintiq, a Cintiq 16-inch display, the Intuos and the Intuos Pro, and each of them had problems that stopped me from using it. Battery lives, the connectivity, lag. There was always, each of them had a problem, and I've had this for 6 months now. This wasn't from the show, they were just at the show. And I love it. It's great. It's revolutionary. And that's a big word.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
It's revolutionary.
Matrix
tablets.
I don't really...
Lenderis is using one. Dave Clayton's using one. Tony Harmer's using one. All these serious photographers and designers are using them, and that tells you something.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's a great product. What else have we got?
What else have we got? DJI?
Well...
So this is something I know you want to play with, so you talk about it.
Yeah, DJI, that's a really interesting product that only recently came out. So DJI have gone into the microphone business.
Yeah.
They have brought out the DJI wireless mics, a direct competitor to Rode's wireless Go-Tos.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a look at the spec sheet, and I have to say, there's some really interesting little features in here. And it's even more interesting when we consider the price point as well. So So that's a number of things. So first of all, the system is very similar. We've got a receiver, which is a stereo receiver. It basically receives two mic signals.
Yeah.
And then
you can mono each one.
Yes.
Or you can stereo them together.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
So that's crazy. That's very similar to the Rode Wireless Go 2s. So we've got these two individual units. So in terms of size, they're very similar to the Go 2s. They're not square, so probably all in all a little bit smaller.
Mm-hmm.
What I do like about them is the magnetic clip thing. Notice.
It's really, give it a go with two hands. It's really strong.
Yeah. So it's one of these things that I can't even get off. But you have a clip. So you can clip this on somebody's clothing, and that's fine. But you also have a magnet where you can essentially magnetize it and use the magnet for it, which is very cool. So
there we go.
In principle,
there's the magnet there.
That's it.
And so,
there
we go. We'll do it on my pocket. The magnet in the pocket. Put the microphone there, and
it's super strong. In fact, so strong
you can't get it off
without breaking my nuts. Terrible thing. Anyway, so in principle, this is a very similar system to the Rode system, but here's the thing. There are a number of marked differences.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing is that I actually prefer the screen on the receiver.
It's an OLED touchscreen that's very responsive and so if you swipe down, you'll get some settings.
So that's the first thing. So you've got a touch screen, you can move through some settings. It's much more intuitive in terms of the way that it's used. But the other thing, and this is huge for me anyway, is that whilst on the Wireless Go 2 you have a mini jack output, which can double as a headphone output,
right?
If you connect it to, let's say, your phone via the USB-C port.
Yeah.
But of course, what happens is when you connect to your camera, you need to use the mini jack output. And then that doesn't give you an opportunity to monitor directly from the device.
Yeah.
With this one, this has an output, but it also has a mini jack headphone output.
Yeah.
So you can not only...
The transmitters also have an input. So you can use the whole system with... If you've already got a better lav mic than this is on its own, you can just plug in your better lav mic, use it just as a transmitter, a range of 250 meters, and you can monitor it at the other end.
Exactly.
But you can also monitor it on your phone, because that receiver plugs into your camera, plugs into your phone, plugs into anything with a USB-C.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
And the other thing is, here's the differences, and we are going to talk about a direct comparison another time on an episode, but this one gives you 14 hours of recording time, whilst the Wireless Go 2 gives you 7 hours. 7 hours is a lot.
7 hours is a long time.
Yeah.
If you podcast or something and you save bits and pieces here and there that are still on the microphone, it's a difference.
It's when I used the Wireless Go 2 at the show, it generally speaking performed really well. The results were really well. There was one instance where, if you remember, the receiver wouldn't turn off.
Yeah. And there's no way around that.
There was no way around it.
There's no battery to remove. There's nothing you can try.
Exactly. So eventually it worked. But so the battery power is and the recording time is enhanced on this. But the other thing also, it comes to this really cool charging case.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
And then a bag. So all your cables are in the bag. Mm. Your windshields or dead cats or fluffy cat, whatever you want to call it, they're all in the bag.
Does it come with lav mic?
That comes just the attachments. But it comes with a jack, and it comes with the USB-C to charge the whole system.
Right. So this really is it's a really good system, and
it feels good, doesn't it?
It does feel good.
This makes a difference to me. I was trying to explain with the tablet just now, but when something looks good and feels good, it's a good product. You can tell it's well made, well engineered, and thought through.
But it's also £30 cheaper than the Wireless Go 2. So that is the killer. You really have a system here that's, at least from the outside, and I haven't actually heard the audio quality of it just yet, but from the outside, this is a system that actually slightly outperforms the Rode version, and it's 30 quid cheaper.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And it comes in a small box.
The box is the charger.
The box is the charger, exactly. It's fantastic. Yeah. So I know a lot of people are really excited about this at the show. I think I saw quite a few of those.
I think they sold out.
Yeah.
What else sold out? Kaylee Greer's book, Dogtography. Awesome. So she was there. She was speaking at the show.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to have her on the podcast, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So
Katie's going to be on the podcast. Probably sometime end of October. Soonish. Yeah. Within the next few months.
Well, she's going to Spain for Barcelona.
Right. Yes. That's right. Yeah.
What's it called? The workshop. Yeah.
So that was great. I mean, we met a lot of people at the show.
See, this is the thing about in-person events. I'm doing the Kelby One Travel Photography Conference, and it's staying online, the next one. I think they're going to review things after that. But for me, in 4 weeks from now, being at Adobe Mics, it's like being at the photography show, is game-changing because it's all about networking, seeing people. It's not necessarily about, for me, about learning or products. It's more about the people.
Yeah, 100%.
You get that in person. You don't get that. No matter how hard you try, you don't get that with a Zoom meeting.
It was really interesting, when I spoke to a whole range of people last week, and everybody kept saying exactly the same thing. It's all about the social aspect. It's about making connections. It's about networking.
Giving someone a hug that you haven't seen for a year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what it's about. So, and I think that it's easy to forget that when you just think of it as, a whole bunch of exhibitors just showing stuff and gear. And so I think, my experience at the show has been, for the last 2 years, it's really all been about the social connections. I mean, last year I didn't buy a thing at the show. And this year I felt compelled.
What did you buy?
I bought a backpack.
Go get it.
Ta-da!
Oh, yeah.
There.
B-roll of the bag.
B-roll of the bag. That's it. So I bought a new bag. Surprise.
Yeah.
I'm very
add to your collection of bags.
I have a massive.
So I have a theory that all photographers will buy, one of this, but they've all got at least 10 bags.
Oh.
At least.
I officially have more bags, or own more bags than my wife, and that's going to mean something. She's beaten me on the shoes, but hey, one can never have too many bags.
So what's special about this one? What is it?
It's a Lowepro Flipside BP 400 AW3.
Okay. Backpack, 400 is the size.
Yes.
All weather AW3. So there's a little pocket in there that folds out.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
And it's a flip side, meaning that it opens from
the back.
Exactly. So
now we've decoded the name.
That's it. So I mean, the thing for me was, I went to the photography show knowing that I was going to have to drag quite a bit of gear around with me, and I thought, for some reason, I thought it'd be a good idea to bring like a messenger style bag, like a sling bag, which was
genius.
I tell you what, within the first 2 hours, I realized that was a bad mistake. Because, it was literally pulling my spine out of shape. And I remember I complained to you about that.
Yeah.
And so, I thought like, well, I'm in the perfect spot. I'm just going to go and find myself an awesome backpack type of a thing. And I came across those, but I have to say,
it looks pretty sturdy.
It looks pretty sturdy, yeah. And it has a number of really cool features, which I love. I mean, just simple things. Like, for instance, just a simple thing. It's got a reinforced top here. So if you've got stuff in the front, it actually has a reinforced top and bottom. So even if it falls on the floor this way around, it won't break anything because
what is that?
It's just plastic inside. It's completely weatherproof, and it has like a thing that goes over the top. But it stands up. This is the only one of my bags that does this. Actually, when you stand up, it just
stays there.
It stays there. It doesn't fall over.
Like magic.
I know. So no more worrying that your bag's going to fall over. It'll just stay there. It opens up from the back, but you can also use it as a side loader. So if you reconfigure the interior, let's say you're out on a street photography trip or something, where you need to get your camera in and out, all the time, then a side loader is actually really quite practical because you don't have to take your whole backpack off. So you can reconfigure it to work in that way, or you can just block it off from the inside. So if you want to use it as a back loader to keep it safe and secure, then nobody can actually access your gear from the side. So that's
cool.
That's a really good advantage. And as far as the interior is concerned, it really fits a whole ton of stuff. So it's got the usual laptop, iPad pouch, pouch for cables. It comes with this built-in pouch for little stuff, bits and bobs that you can take out if you want.
Well, everyone's got cables, and most bag companies don't think about where the cables are going to go.
Exactly.
That's where they're going to go.
Cables, batteries,
Microphone,
lav mic, little crap, whatever. All that goes in there. Perfect. And then, of course, you can configure the rest of it in any way that you want. But I haven't really gotten to grips for what I'm actually going to.
You can change it every time. That's the thing.
Yeah, exactly. And it's
depending on what you're taking, what lenses you have.
Yeah, and you've got plenty of these little elements. Oh, and there's another little thing. I tell you what, that in itself is genius. It's a little thing. So this is one of the kind of elements that you use to space off space. But then it has this thing for memory cards.
Okay.
Memory cards in it. So, or another little.
So, the toxic camera bags, who are under the umbrella with three-legged thing, they have a similar divider that's spaced in between like that,
right?
But it's for your cables.
Oh, brilliant!
But I suppose you can put anything in it.
Yeah, you can put anything in there. Yeah, I mean it's So all in all, this is a magical find at the photography show, and
it has saved your back.
And it saved my back. Oh my god, the second day was so much better. I tell you, I mean literally all my back pain was gone. And I mean, what else about this bag? Well, it obviously has a front bit.
Is it comfortable? That's the big thing.
Yeah, super comfortable, man.
Cool.
That's the best thing about it. And the
tripod space.
It's got tripod space, or you can put a water bottle in there if you want.
Okay.
So that's flexible. It's got stuff. You can put keys on there, whatever. So it's got space in the front. Yeah, it really.
That's cool.
As far as bags are concerned, I'm super happy with this one.
Cool. Lowepro obviously are specialists in bags as well, so they've got all the practice and experience to make something like cool.
You can really see, the development over time, because there are a lot of little features in it. They're really like little small improvements that make a big difference.
Yeah.
This enforcement here.
Yeah, that's genius.
It's genius, right? And the same thing at the bottom.
And it's only a little addition.
It's only a little addition, exactly. So yeah, very, very, very useful. There's another little thing. Again, it's just a little thing, but it's in its own little way. It's genius. So when you've got the bag sitting on the floor like this and you're loading it, right? Then when you pick it up, traditionally you would basically grab, the backpack straps and pick it up. But this one just has a little handle there. How's that?
I like it.
I know. I mean,
just to get it from the middle.
Yeah,
perfect.
It makes perfect sense.
Well,
great. Little things. So, very useful thing. And of course, since I picked it up at the photography show, and this is,
we go there for the great prices.
Well, we go there for the great prices, but then you can remember, like with, a lot of the exhibitors have your bags and whatever else on show.
Yeah.
And if you can haggle and you get they knock a little bit off the price, even off the show price. So
that's cool.
I probably saved about 60 quid.
Let me tell you, the trick to the photography show, if you want gear, is that the exhibitors don't want to take anything back.
That's it.
They don't, because it's too much effort. Loading a van up, too much effort.
Yeah.
So last day, go and get your bargains.
Yeah.
If there's still got what you want.
Yeah.
Because like the DJI mic sold out.
Yeah.
There's another thing here I want to show you.
What's that?
So I don't know if you noticed, I've been doing a lot more mobile photography.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
This.
Right.
Lots of companies are doing phone grips.
Right.
To help you with your photography with your phone. Not many have got it right or have done it well. This is a ShiftCam ProGrip.
So I saw you use that on Instagram, I think. I was
beautiful.
Super curious about what that does.
Phone slides in really easy. It's a charger. So you see there are two buttons here where the phone twists and reveals two buttons.
Yeah.
One is the Bluetooth connection and one is to turn on the charger. So when you turn the charger on, it's a wireless connection.
Mm-hmm.
I think I need to charge it. Oh, there we go.
Oh yeah.
It's got a hand grip, but you can change that if you want for a shoulder strap or whatever.
Yeah.
And the button's right there. So when you've got your camera on in either portrait or landscape, it's more like a camera, but it's ergonomic as well. Yeah. So your fingers fit underneath on the shutter, and then there's a place for your thumb. You can get lenses for this thing. You can get wide, ultra wide. You can get 230 degree fisheye, or you can get like a 70mm macro, 70mm telephoto for it. But and it attaches to the tripod. There are so many cool things about this particular one that beat all the others, in my opinion. This is the first one I've found where I've thought it's actually doing its job just right. ShiftCam ProGrip, and also if you're watching your Netflix, it stands up.
Hey, well, that's what you
Isn't that good?
That's perfect.
So I'm really excited about taking that and trying it out more. I've only had it a few days, but trying it out more and seeing what I can really get out of it. And obviously it pairs up with, if you want to be a more serious mobile photographer, it pairs up with the Profoto A2s, which you attach the Clic Softbox Ultra.
Yeah.
When you're out, you've got a studio lighting on your phone. This is 2022. We're there. I
know. I tell you what, I really like about this. I really like side grips. For filming video. Yeah. It just allows you to stabilize the camera just a little bit more. And if you're shooting
more natural, isn't it?
Completely. And
more natural that way.
And if you're shooting a lot on your phone, then that's just perfect. Incredible.
Yeah. So that's a really cool product that I found there.
And you mentioned Profoto. There's been a few new things coming out.
Okay, so I'm not sure whether the Profoto camera app's ready for iOS 16. I need to speak to Marco and find out. But in the meantime, I'm staying with 15 until that's ready because of the A2. But then there's the B10's had a firmware update. B10X has had a firmware update to bring everything in line. But in terms of new products, that's kind of your speciality. So what have you got? What have you heard?
Well, the thing that really interests me is the Clic Softbox.
Yeah.
That's I saw that.
Have you not had a go?
I haven't had a go yet. No. I didn't get a chance. Oh wow.
So that's the Clic Softbox.
I tell you what, the first thing, I'm liking this already because this form factor is.
So the A2 is the size of a Coke can or a cup.
Yeah.
There's the handle that attaches to whatever you want to attach it to. Light stand wise, it's there. But then you'll find that on the Clic Softbox Ultra, there's also a mount to attach that to a light stand.
I mean, the first thing I'm going to say, just by picking this up, right, this weighs nothing. Yeah. I have never owned a softbox.
Right.
That folds this small.
I know.
I mean,
I tried to, so for the reviews that I've done recently, I tried to break the things. I can't break them. They just bend. And then memory sends them back to the way they are.
Yeah.
Do you want me to show you or you? There we go.
I think probably work it out.
That's it. Yep.
Amazing. That's it.
That's it. So there's a diffuser on the front. There's a diffuser inside.
Wow.
And then there are, I think, 8. Yeah, there are 8 of these.
Yeah.
They're impossible to break.
I mean, it's
crazy good. But then that attaches to a light stand with a quarter twist and it's locked.
Tightens it.
Once that's in position, you use this button here on the finger.
Yeah.
To angle that part so on your light stand. And then here, look at this. Ready? The A2.
When attached. Beautiful.
Done.
Fantastic.
Have a little look.
That is.
Should we do a picture? And you can. If you hold the white button on the back, it turns it on.
Okay. Connects to the phone. Amazing.
So let me just. Am I fire? Okay, ready? It's just okay. That's crazy bright. Give me a sec. I just need to change my settings. Now I've done my test shot. Turn the flash up and turn the ISO way out. Point it at you. I've got a glare. There we go. I want that. There we go. So obviously I've got a fixed. that's the shot right there.
Right.
So I've got a fixed aperture because I'm using the lens on the iPhone, which is fixed at what, 1.8?
Nice.
And that's with the sun hitting behind you. So
Great.
It's not ideal. It could take a minute and do it properly.
Yeah.
But obviously we'll show everyone on the screen.
Yeah.
Do you want to do one the other way? Because I'll show you how to use it. So that's your flash power.
Okay.
So I'm sitting at 6.4 ISO and shutter. They're the controls you have. You can put it on auto TTL, but yeah. Do you want me there?
Yeah, bring forward just
I can't see me.
Right. Oh yeah.
Sun there, but it should be getting under the hat and everything.
If you bring it from the other side.
Okay.
That's it. Bring it up a little bit.
Block the sun.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. Hang on, ready, steady, swing. Ooh, okay. Bring that flash part up just a bit.
So if you're doing mobile photography with this, I think if you're doing regular photography with the Profoto control.
Okay, look at that's it.
Then once you can put your phone on the tripod and put this on a light stand.
Okay.
And you can walk around and use a Bluetooth remote, or you can press the white button on the back of the flash and it takes a photo when you press the button.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah.
So easy. That's incredible.
Cool, isn't it?
Yeah. iPhone photography.
Oh, isn't he beautiful? Yeah, Profoto A2 Clic Softbox Ultra.
Amazing.
Great combination. So the Profoto camera app works with the A2, the C1 Plus, the B10, the B10X, the A10. I think there might be one or two more.
Yeah.
But basically the main.
What's the overall power output on the A2? Do you?
What's what?
What's the overall power output on it?
Don't know.
Right.
We can look. Nope. No, I don't know.
Perfect.
It's without the Clic Softbox Ultra.
Good.
You can overpower the sun. With it,
What's that?
hard pushed. But yeah, and you can get other magnetic modifiers that go on here, like grids. I think there's a snoot, or if not a short snoot, maybe like a grid, and you can get gels that attach magnetically.
But if you're, if you're an event photographer, I guess, or if you're even, I suppose, even as a portrait photographer out on location, if you're shooting like engagements, that sort of thing, this would be perfect. And it weighs nothing. I mean, this is the most incredible thing.
I have I don't know if it's charged, but I have the controller that goes on a Nikon if you want to try it after we've finished recording.
Absolutely. So what a fantastic product.
That's cool, isn't it?
Yeah. So what's the price point?
Well, I think it's about 800 or so.
Okay.
Worth it. So if you want that combination, you're looking at about $950.
Okay.
But then you get your money's worth with it.
Yeah.
Especially when you look at the fact that it's got the mobile photography app Profoto camera as well, so you can control it in that way. Yeah. You can also remotely control the flash when you're connected to a regular camera with the Profoto control app.
Yeah.
And you can put loads of them together. It's a great product.
Yeah.
So I have done wedding photography and portrait photography, but it's not my thing. I've done it. And I moved away from using flash, but this has pulled me back to it.
Yeah.
Really has.
I mean, I love using flash, as you well know, on location or in the studio, because that's kind of what I do. But the portability of whatever flash system is the major factor. That's actually one of the reasons why, I've always liked the
portability. Ready?
Badges, yeah.
Ready?
You go, well, that's a complete.
And then you're in the bag.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
That's such a great system. And again, what I love about this is just the simplicity of it.
Yeah.
This isn't like rocket science. It's just really cleverly done.
Yeah.
And
it's the kind of thing you look at it and go, why didn't someone already think of this?
Exactly.
Just like with the Xencelabs, where you look at it and go, why didn't someone else think of this?
Yeah.
It just works.
Yeah.
In my opinion, the things that work the best are the things that work without you noticing.
Yeah.
And this is one of them.
Absolutely. And again, this would quite easily fit in my camera bag.
Yeah.
And this softbox weighs absolutely nothing. So it's, it's incredible.
So you can get 2 clic softbox ultras, clic softbox octas into a bag as well, so they're even more portable.
Yeah. We just saw, the first time I came across this was I saw Sean Elizabeth's video where she's on vacation somewhere shooting with this, and I'm looking at it and thinking, what is this thing? What is this magical softbox thing you've got there? Fantastic.
Yeah, love it. Fantastic product. So I'll be using some of those at Adobe Mics as well. If you want to keep an eye on my socials, Dave Williams, along with the grip, will be more. It'll be put through its paces more by then. Let's put it that way. So we'll see whether I still like it, and I'm sure I will because it's a fantastic piece of kit. And if there's any video, I'm sure I'll be using the DJI Mics as well.
So this is just a small selection of all the standout products. We came across at the show. Is again.
Basically, we've got a little table for the toys.
Yeah.
That were really cool toys that we were in.
So no matter whether you're, into landscape or cityscape photography, the Platypod is an absolute must, I think.
Yeah.
Whether it's video.
So I'm going to say on this point, with the video, people will watch a bad video with good audio.
Yes.
But they will not listen to a good video with bad audio.
Correct.
If your sync is slightly out, if the quality of the audio isn't quite there, they will turn off a lot quicker than if your video isn't good.
Absolutely. Adobe are doing something interesting in terms of audio processing.
Yes. And an acquisition.
Yeah. So, for everyone who has seen Glenn Dews's recent video on that subject, if you haven't, I'll put a link in the description and make sure you check it out.
I keep forgetting the name of this, so can I try and announce it? See if I get it right. Is it Shasta?
Shasta? Yeah. I think that's how you pronounce it. Nobody knows. It's funny because I was talking to lots of people at the show. It's like, who came up with this name? No idea. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Brilliant marketing.
But either way, it's really good.
Either way, it's fantastic. It's essentially a really easy way to improve your audio.
Yep. Get rid of background noise, level everything out, remove hums and clicks and all of that stuff.
Yeah. It works very well. Actually, to be honest, it works astonishingly well. There are a few downsides to it, especially when you have somebody who varies greatly in volume when they speak.
Right.
So some people have this tendency of saying something really loud. Very cool.
Yeah.
And I can guarantee you that the last bit of the sentence
is going to disappear.
Would have disappeared.
Right.
So the disadvantage.
So I have a different angle on disadvantages.
Right.
I think that the soundscaping is essential to a video.
Absolutely.
And it makes it natural. So when you've got somebody standing in a busy place, you expect to hear some ambient background noise, some traffic noise,
that's correct.
People, whatever you expect to hear, the soundscape.
Yeah.
And Shasta, this program does a really, really good job at removing all of it. So much so that you may have to then consider going and adding some ambient sounds back in.
Yeah, so funny you mention that, because that's exactly what my thought process was on last week's episode at the photography show. Because, you were there. It was loud enough.
It was loud.
There was tons of background noise. And when I processed the audio for it, basically, there's zero background noise. It's literally clean voice audio. So I was umming and ahhing as to whether I was going to put some, fake crowd noise in there. And in the end, I kind of decided not to do it, mainly because it would have meant that I would have been able to get the episode out when it needed to go out. So I kind of thought, it's better to get it out and just call it done.
But it makes it so not digging at your episode then, if that's the reference. It makes it unnatural.
It does make it unnatural. Yeah. There's something.
It doesn't join. Right. So the audio doesn't join up to what you're seeing in the video.
I mean, luckily for what we did at the photography shows, of course we were talking to people. And generally in the interview situations, it was fine because you couldn't really see a crowd. It was just
Just two people.
Yeah, just two people talking. There was, I think, the only shot where it kind of irked me a little bit was the opening, just the introduction, where it's literally just me for a few seconds introducing the episode. And in that shot, I'm walking through one of the aisles, and of course you can see stuff happening, and you'd expect more environmental noise there. But
it is what it is.
It is what it is. But,
all it means is, so we're removing all the bad noises that we didn't want, but as a result of that, we were removing every other noise. Yeah. So we just need, if we're going to do a proper production of whatever, we're separating the vocals, the voice or whatever, the person talking, from the bad noises, and we may need to then add some good noises. Yes, exactly. That's all it is. Because it's that good at what it does.
It is incredible. I mean, for zero effort, it is...
Press the button?
Not even, you just basically just drag and drop. That's it. That's all you got to do. Drag and drop and then download the processed file.
So you drag and drop it. It's an online service. And I imagine it's using a load of machine learning to do what it does. And it's doing it really well.
I have a theory. I think that what Adobe is doing is they are literally machine learning by basically analyzing all the files that people drop into this.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if we see that feature
integrated into Premiere
or Audition, all that kind of stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was a thing. It's astonishing how well it works. I mean, you have background noise removal functions in Final Cut Pro, for example, but they don't work anywhere nearly as good as that.
Yeah, there are removal options and scenarios you can run in the audio panel in Premiere.
Yeah.
But this is just taking it up another gear completely.
So some weeks ago, Nick and I did an episode where we were driving around in his topless car, right? So we were driving around.
Oh, it works now. I went to go for a ride with him and it didn't work.
So I think it's a better or something, yeah.
Yeah, the battery needs charging.
But so we went for a ride, and the idea was basically he had a plug-in or a bunch of plugins that he wanted to test, and so we thought okay, well we'll basically get in the car, we'll drive with the top down, we'll drive around for an hour or so, and we'll just use our lap mics, and that was it. And then we'll see if he's able to essentially eradicate all background noise and the wind noise and all that kind of stuff. And I thought the end result was actually astonishing, really. I mean, I was in the car, it was loud, but I have a feeling that Project Shasta will be able to achieve a similar, if not the same result, with literally zero. I mean, you don't...
Still got the original audio?
Nick will have it, yeah.
So you can do that test?
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's, it was just, it's very, very interesting how far things have come, with that. So yeah. I mean, but as you say, good audio is essential.
Yeah, absolutely.
In a video.
Glitching video is fine, but if the lips aren't synced, if the audio's off, if there's a hum or a crackle, people won't listen.
Yeah.
That's the deal breaker. It's not the video, it's the audio.
Yeah. And so, when it comes to audio, of course, the actual production side is important. So using the right microphones, using the right system, like, this DJI system.
Windshields.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That
makes a big difference.
If you're wondering what this is, making lots of noise, that's a dead cat.
It's the ASMR edition of the Camera Shake podcast.
So recording the audio properly in the first place is important.
Absolutely.
Of course.
Well, that's why these things and those things, whatever else, are worth the investment. It's not just in the glass and the camera and the tripod. It's the audio that goes with it.
Yeah.
Especially if you're one of these people that wants to make a serious go of video, of YouTube, or of any TikToking or anything.
Yeah.
It's the audio that makes the difference.
Yeah. I remember last time we met up in the wild.
Yeah.
There was three of us.
Where is Nick?
So we thought in advance. We thought about how we're going to record the audio.
Yeah.
We didn't have the wireless go-tos at that point, so we thought, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to record it on a field recorder. and we just simply used 3 Shure SM58s for that. They're really great vocal mics, and they're great for for voice.
Yep.
And it worked really well.
Keeps your hand busy.
It keeps your hand busy as well.
Which is a good thing and a bad thing, because now we've got 2 hands to play with the toys.
Exactly. But the end result was really good. In fact, we used the same method at the photography show last year, which, to be honest with you, was a pain in the ass, because it meant, dragging the field recorder around with us.
Syncing it all up afterwards.
Syncing it up, but it's just, purely from a practical point of view, at the show, it was a pain, because you got to carry all this stuff around, you got to press record and all the rest of it. So in that respect, actually, Rode made it really easy this year, because you can get this interview microphone stick extension accessory thing, which essentially is just a stick, like a handle, with a coupling for the wireless go-to, and then you put the windshield over the top, and it looks like a microphone. It worked great.
Yeah, and the fact that it was so lightweight and professional looking was cool as well.
Yes, exactly. And I could just, carry it around with me. I could put it in my back pocket, put it in my backpack, and you just whip it out, literally, whenever you're interviewing somebody. And it bobs your uncle, really. Yeah. So, that's a great thing. So there are multiple ways of getting good audio, but it's important to spend a minute thinking about that.
Yeah, definitely. Give it the time, because as I say, I'm going to say it again, it makes a difference. It's the thing that will switch people off.
Yeah. Cool. Now, what else? We've got one more thing to discuss, and that's your latest book.
Okay.
The
Eiffel Tower.
The Eiffel Tower Effect.
Yeah. Okay. So the Eiffel Tower Effect is the title of the book, but the reason it's named so is because it's a phrase I came up with to describe people on Instagram. It's when places are made famous by Instagram, or when places are already famous and people go there and post their photos on Instagram, they suffer the Eiffel Tower effect, and that is that every photo is the same. Every angle is the same, every photo is the same, every girl in the big hat in the fields, in lavender fields in France, is the same photo. Every photo of the Eiffel Tower, you're standing at the top of the Trocadero and you're looking across and it's the same photo. You get to the Taj Mahal and there's a framed gateway and there's the Taj Mahal. It's the same photo. Everywhere suffers this, and it's a result of Instagram and influencers and everyone doing the same thing. And so this book goes into different ways that you can take different photos, and how you can think differently as a photographer, whether it's a pro or as an amateur, or whether it's with a DSLR, a mirrorless, or an iPhone. Different ways to think about creating different photos of places that people recognize, and therefore breaking the trend and not suffering the Eiffel Tower effect. There's things like get down low. One of the things that I talk about in there that I've spoken about in blog posts and in classes before is eye level, and shooting level at eye level. So when you're walking down the street, you're looking at everything from your eye level and you're looking level. So if you see a photo that's there, it's familiar, there's nothing special about it. Whereas if you go down low or up high or come from a different angle, you're breaking that trend of being level at eye level, and you can create awesome photos. The Platypod is something that helps you do that. An extension pole or a tripod held above your head, or climbing a wall safely, and getting all these different angles helps in that sense. And then thinking about things like the composition, the time of day, the colour, the seasons, all these different things are all discussed in the book about how to create a unique photo of a familiar place, and therefore not suffering the Eiffel Tower effect. Don't make the mistake of thinking it's about the Eiffel Tower. It's not. It's just that the Eiffel Tower is the most photographed thing in the world. And so that's the reason I landed on that name, to describe this symptomatic, terrible thing that people do of taking the same photos. We deal with those symptoms and we address it, and we teach how to shoot differently.
Yeah, I wish I'd read this book before I went to Lake Louise last time, because it's...
Did you stand on the shore, there's a cafe on the left, and you shot down the mountain?
Well...
Is that what you did?
It's basically... Yes,
with the hotel behind you?
Well, but it's like... Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Basically, we got there after... I don't know how long was it? It's probably an hour and a half drive or something from Camera, I guess, something like that.
Yeah.
We got there, and I was starving. I was starving. I could have eaten a freaking reindeer. And we got there, and of course, this, you know, as you walk up to the lake, you've got the hotel on the right hand side, and then you've got a jetty, and then you've got like a
cafe and a boat hut.
Yeah, boat hut on the left, right? And so everybody was on the jetty taking the same picture, the same picture that you've seen a million times on you know, on the internet or on postcards or whatever, right? It's the V-shaped kind of, you know, backdrop to the lake. And I literally just went, okay, well, that'll do. Took a few pictures, and then it was burger time right after that.
So you were level at eye level.
Level at eye level.
Yeah.
That's it.
Looking at the same scene everyone else looks at.
I may have knelt down, I can't remember, but that's as far as it went. And then, of course, when we got back, I kind of thought, what an idiot. I should have eaten first.
Yeah.
You know, and then I was just taking my time, because there were so many interesting angles. The boat hut is a really great angle down there.
Yeah.
You know, especially when you have some canoes in the foreground or something, or, you know, or some activity going on there. You could just walk around the lake, you know, and find some interesting angles there.
It's a beautiful place.
You could even go out on a boat.
And that's where there really is a Bigfoot as well.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Don't know if you know. Just around so Lake Louise, you go down the road from Lake Louise towards the main road, the Icefields Parkway.
Yeah.
You go left, go for about 5 kilometers, and then turn right. You go up towards, you go on the David Thompson Highway. When you get onto that highway, there's a sign that says, "Welcome to our backyard," and there's a picture of Sasquatch.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, so it's a true story.
Well, I knew it.
Anyway.
There was some weird activity going on in the backyard, I think. I put it down to raccoons, but, you know.
They're annoying.
Yeah.
So the Eiffel Tower Effect does that. But, I mean, there's lots of places, like looking at the Rocky Mountains, Lake Louise, Banff, Jasper, Hinton, all those places, people do that drive on the Icefields Parkway, and everyone ends up with the same pictures.
Yeah.
So there are just so many techniques in the book that tell you how to overcome that.
Yeah. And it's just this
how to think differently when you're shooting, to find your own creative voice.
There's this weird thing where I think, you know, people sometimes want to get that picture, because they've seen it so many times, they kind of go, if I could really get that picture.
That's fine. Go and get that picture. Yeah, exactly. Get your own as well.
But then do some other stuff. Yeah, exactly. So, well, I mean, we talked about the platypus, the platypod earlier. And of course, it's a perfect device to get some different angles.
Yep.
If you're trying to get out of that rut, basically.
Yep. I use it all the time. Hiking, lightweight. If I need a long exposure, if I need to evade the tripod police, I'm doing architectures, interiors of nice churches, nice museums, things like that. It's a beautiful device to help. And that's something I talk about in the book as well. But color theory is another thing I go into, why we shoot at certain times of day to get unique things, and why the season makes a huge difference as well. So it's not just level at eye level. There are so many, I think there's about 10 major ideas, but then I go into detail about how I also explain how Instagram works and how to stand out on Instagram if that's the direction you want to go.
Yeah.
It's a cool book, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Cool. Do you get any plans for any future books?
I'm thinking about a biographical sort of, the stories that of the crazy situations and the things I've learned from different cultures and different countries, different experiences. I'm not sure if anyone would buy it though, so let me know if you would. But I think that's an idea worth looking at, because I've seen lots of things. I've been to lots of places. I've got lots of stories, like different customs and different ways of life and different ways of thinking that I've brought into my own existence.
I think personally, that could work.
If they were written down,
it could work really well. Well, first of all, because I think there's definitely, you know, people like to follow somebody who travels.
Yeah. People like to live vicariously and do the things they can't do through someone else.
Because there's some great stories. I mean, you know, only recently, you know, we've had Ewan McGregor and
long way down,
up, across,
around.
One of those, all of them. You know, that's a really interesting thing to follow. Then one of the first books I ever read when I was a kid was a book that I sort of found in my granddad's bookshelf, and it was this dude, I can't remember, some guy who cycled around the world back in the 50s, and it was a super interesting read. you know, and it's the same thing. It's like you read about all the stories, you know, and all the things that happen along the way.
Yeah. It's just whether anyone wants to publish it or whether I do it myself, really, whether anyone reads it or not.
The other thing, I tell you what, the other thing I came across recently, and of course that's, you know, because I'm a brand new Vespa owner. But there's this lady in, I want to say, somewhere in the south of England, maybe Dorset actually. But she took a Vespa. She rode a Vespa from the south of England all the way to Mongolia.
Oh wow!
Then picked up a street dog.
Yeah.
Randomly, and then made her way back through Russia all the way back to the UK on a Vespa.
With the dog.
With the dog.
That's crazy.
With the dog on the back. Yeah.
That's a story.
Yeah. And so you know, that was a super interesting story. So I think, you know, there's something in those.
Yeah, it's just whether anyone's interested in reading the things I've you know, learned and experienced.
So when I graduated from high school, one of my friends cycled from the south of Germany to India, and it took absolutely forever. And you know, the whole thing was in the planning for about a year and a half or something. He had lots of sponsors and got everything tied up. He went all the way to India, came back, and then of course lots of newspapers were interested in him. I think he gave 2 interviews, and that was it. And then I met him like a year later or something. I said, like, dude, that's such an interesting thing. Why didn't you write a book? And he goes like, you know what? I thought about it, and then I thought, all of these experiences, they're really just my own personal experiences. Yeah. And I just don't want to write a book. I know that.
So yeah, that's another thing that's crossed my mind. There are things that won't make it into the book if I do. Because they're, like, someone asked me, especially with the Northern Lights, do I ever just go and look and not take a camera? Yeah, I do. I like to experience the things without having to take a picture or feeling the need to take a picture. And it's the same thing. It translates across, doesn't it? Sometimes I just want to have the experience. I don't need to write about it, share about it, TikTok about it, Instagram, whatever. It's just for me. I'm just having the experience. That's when the meteorite came in.
Right.
Do you remember seeing that on my story? So I'm sitting in Swedish Lapland near Kiruna, not far from Kiruna. And there's a nice lake and the gate to Lapland. And the Northern Lights came out, and I thought, I'm just going to enjoy this. This is just going to be for me. And I'm sitting up on the bed, my head's out the skylight. I'm looking out at the Northern Lights dancing in the sky. And then suddenly, I see this fireball. A fireball. It's not like a slither or a shooting star. It's a fireball. You can see the smoke coming off the back of it where it's so hot and the air's so cold. You can hear it crackling. And then it hit the ground maybe 100 meters away from me. And you could hear the thud. But the snow was so deep. I was ankle deep and waist deep after trying to find it. But anyway, yeah, so this meteorite came down. I didn't have my camera out, so I didn't see it, record it, capture it. But I went looking for it for the next, immediately for a couple of hours in the dark. And then again the next morning, see if I could find where it landed in the snow. So yeah, these things... You have experiences that you keep quiet or you keep to yourself or you don't take photos or videos of, and that's one of them. So maybe that's worthy of the book. It's an interesting story. I'd like to go back when the snow's not there and see because I know where it landed. See if I can find it.
Right.
It's got to be worth a fortune.
Is it usually easier to find a meteorite on the snow? Because the only thing that's...
Well, it's powder snow.
Right.
And this thing's coming at however many hundreds of miles an hour.
Yeah.
So what I was looking for was a hole in the snow.
Yeah.
Because it must have just gone straight in and made a hole. So I was looking for a hole in the snow, shining a torch, looking for contrast.
I actually do remember that story now. Now that you talk about it, yeah.
But yeah, things have happened. I've got some things to write about it. It's just whether I do or not.
Right. Well, maybe if you're listening to this, or if you're still watching, then let us know. Let us know if you want Dave to write about his adventures.
Yeah. If I did, it would be called Once in a Lifetime. To go along with my tagline, once in a lifetime as often as you can, because you should. You get one life, live it to the max. You get one shot, one opportunity to do all these things, then take that opportunity, because you'll have all these experiences. You'll see things happen in the middle of the Arctic and meteorites crashing down to Earth, Sasquatches walking through the Rockies, whatever it may be, take the opportunity. Once in a lifetime. It shouldn't be a once in a lifetime thing. You should take every once in a lifetime opportunity as often as you can and live your life. If that means living in a van for a bit, that's what I'm doing. But take your own interpretation of that, and have fun.
That's it. Once in a lifetime, as often as you can.
Exactly.
That's a great way to end this episode. Dave, it's been a pleasure as always. I'm sure we'll see.
Thanks, dude.
Much more of you on the podcast.
Yeah. Come on, Tommy. Catch up.
Anyway, that is it. We've come to the end of Camera Shake Podcast episode 122. Hope you enjoyed it. And we'll be back next week.
Nice.